So I'm pretty inactive on this account, but for school purposes, that online school life, I have to do a research project. So enjoy the Speedpaint while I talk about what I researched. Are we as humans, as a species, evolving to become cyborgs? Neuralink. It's this company which Elon Musk bought from two older researchers and is continuing to develop. It's so far pretty secretive, but essentially, they want to place a microchip inside people's brains. They've so far released a video presentation about it, as well as a report about what they've been doing out to the public for us to consume and review and, read and look at. Now, why would they want this? I'll get into the science later, but basically, Musk and his researchers want to help people with sensory deficits. For example, if someone lost their ability to hear, or to see, move a limb, etc., Neuralink's purpose is to reconnect the brain and the body. A similar advancement is the use of a less advanced BMI, or brain-machine interface, to temporarily help patients suffering from Parkinson's disease, a disease where the brain slowly deteriorates and causes the brain to underproduce the hormone dopamine. So far, they've developed a BMI, a brain-machine interface, which is a small 4x4 millimeter chip. Attached to it are microscopic threads, which are 10 times smaller than a human hair, and those threads are meant to act as a way for electrical activity to travel through the brain. They're also so small they had to create a specialized robot to place them, and it's incredibly accurate and is able to very specifically place the threads between specific neurons, and it's very, very precise. Just gonna reiterate that. So, the brain is chemical. It's also electrical. Essentially, within the brain, there are neurons, which are cells of the nervous system. They carry out neural functions, etc. In a neuron, there are dendrites at one end, and then a cell body, and then an axon covered in a fatty myelin sheath, which is also called white matter, and what this does is just speeds up processes of the brain, cognition, etc. Take a psych class, you'll learn all about it. And then, of course, the axon terminals at the end of that. So, the neurons are not placed, but they're kind of close together, except they're separated. The dendrites and then the axon terminals are separated by this thing called a synaptic gap. So the brain sends signals across neurons, giving instructions for bodily functions and movements, from the regulation of hunger to moving your arms and going to open the fridge. Because what else are we going to do? It's quarantine. Anyways, chemicals in the brain called neurotransmitters are what's being sent across these neurons, and then they jump a synaptic gap. That's the gap between the dendrites and the axon terminals. This process is called the action potential, and it happens when you do stuff. It just happens when you think, when your brain's giving information or sending information across whatever. So outside the axon, there's sodium fluid with a positive charge, and then inside the axon, there's potassium fluid with a negative charge. And as the gates open, during action potential, the gates open, sodium floods into the axon and potassium rushes out, and then at the peak of action potential, sodium levels drop. So these ions are why the brain's electric. So, because the brain's electric, Neuralink researchers are able to, and intend to, record the action potentials of a variety of specific thoughts by placing an electrode in specific brain areas. So, there's a motor area in the brain, there's stuff for, feeling stuff, senses, facial recognition, etc. And they have a computer to decode these action potentials into something more attuned to a pattern through the use of complicated and advanced algorithms. And they explain this in their video. So they also show a picture of, the action potentials, and it's kind of messy. Humans can't see a pattern, when they're recorded. And then the computer decodes them, puts it in a nice, orderly fashion. So the Neuralink researchers want to use this to, recreate that kind of electric signal, essentially. So through this method, they are able to see what that action potential looks like when someone does or even just thinks about something like karate. Humans, we have these things called mirror neurons. So, because we're highly social creatures, so if you watch somebody eating an ice cream cone, like a monkey did this, a monkey was watching someone eat an ice cream cone, the researcher was eating an ice cream cone, and the same brain area relating to food, that reward center also lit up in the monkey's brain. So that happens. So even if you're just thinking about something, it's enough to, I guess, like light the brain up in that area. And so the example that they used in the video was something like karate. So even if they just think about karate, they can record that action potential that happens. Neuralink researchers intend to use this information and use their N1 BMI to create new electrical pathways and make more synapses fire in the brain to help the connection between the brain and the body. Or even just direct input straight from someone's brain right into their phone without the use of their hands. And they were very specific. Researchers were very specific about not wanting to have somebody else to, like, manage their own, like, chips and stuff. You know, like, why would you need... Because then they were explaining what was the point of having this chip and then you still need a caretaker. So they wanted to eliminate that. But imagine, like, you're just on your phone. Like, you don't even need your hands. You just post stuff onto Instagram or Twitter, Facebook, whatever, and it's just right there. Everything you think, all the words you think, just straight into your phone. That's essentially what they're working towards as well. Then, of course, they want to include a wearable Bluetooth earpiece so that their patients can manage on their own without the need of a caretaker, like I said. So they want to attach it, like, right behind the ear, and it's wearable. It's not connected to specifically connected to this chip, because they also want the chip to be wireless. Just so, there's not wires hanging out of your brain. So Bluetooth works like a radio wave, which just carries data. It has the ability to transfer data, and you can put securities on it, and thus brainwaves of someone can go from the Bluetooth device and directly into their phone or the laptop or whatever. So, are we becoming cyborgs? No, not really. It's more like, as Musk describes it, a symbiosis between humans and machines, or a merging of humans with AI. So no, we're not becoming a cyborg society, unfortunately. All those sci-fi wishes and wants and fantasies are dead currently. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they were alive in the future. We're a very tech-savvy place. We're a tech-savvy world, and we're progressing so fast with technology, it's insane. But anyways, we're not becoming a cyborg society where, like, our eyes can scan things, or we're becoming half machines. This isn't Detroit Become Human quite yet, But the technology could advance so many other things, and I think it's really interesting to see where it could lead us in a couple of years. Where would we be in a decade? I guess only time will tell, because, a couple decades ago, a significant amount of decades ago, when people sent a man to the moon for the first time, when America did that, there's less power in that machine thing that they used than there is in our phones. Our phones. That's wild. But for now, we'll have to wait for the future of cyborg possibilities. We have to just read our Wattpad fiction until we get to that point, Anyways, I'll go ahead and leave all the references I used in the description. So go ahead and enjoy the rest of the video. I'm not going to say much else. It's just going to be music playing, royalty-free goodness. But I'm not going to say much else just because Neuralink hasn't released that much on it. And this is what I could find. This is what I could explain. And we had to explain an electricity part of our project and how it worked, how electricity worked with, what we were researching. And I think I hit that, AP Psych really helped me. And shout out to you, Mr. Barani, even though the only subscriber I have on here is, not even my parents. My parents don't care about this account. Wow. But honestly, the only subscriber I have on here is myself and, one friend. So, enjoy that. Oh, lastly, okay, so I'm making a comic with my friend, and, it's on Webtoon. It's called Colorless. It's under the username Artistic Boar. it's the logo instead of a person because, I forgot. But yeah, it's a picture, the profile, not the profile, oh my god. The icon is a picture of a monochrome heart. You should go read it. I think it's really interesting. And it's been fun, like, creating it. So far, episode 1 is only out. But yeah, stay tuned for more. And enjoy the video.